Amara Juliana Olivians Aguila, aka Allison Cressmere, aka Magma. First appearance, New Mutants, number 8, I believe. New Mutants number 8, June 1983. Hey guys, you know who it is, what's going on, what is happening, where it's at, and why we're here today. How you doing? It is I, the sublimely magnificent big ugly himself, Omari Ellis, feogrande on YouTube, back with another episode of the Whatever We Want podcast. And as usual, I am joined by my co-host, my running mate, one of my best friends in the world, the man, the myth, the legend, he who bears watching, Superjaz.
As nature intended. What's going on, everybody? Yes, as he said, I am Superjaz. You can call me Superjaz, SJJT, whatever you want, what have you, and the like. And as he said, this is the Whatever We Want podcast, where we do just that. We talk about whatever we want. We don't lead this conversation. This conversation leads us, and we let these chips fall where they may.
Every Wednesday. And the first thing.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, a fortune.
Oh yeah, a fortune.
Well, you said wheel, and I was gonna say something, and you said wheel. I'm like, oh yeah, a fortune. Because
I said oh yeah, but it probably sounded like wheel. Okay.
Oh, so like wheel.
That's why I was like, oh yeah, a fortune.
Yeah, I thought it was just wheel. I'm like, a fortune. Yeah. Oh yeah. So yeah. Well, first thing I want to do, because I'm not sure if you got something you want to talk about. So last week, I came on here telling how happy I was that the Battlehawks were undefeated.
Right.
They immediately get bodied by the
I
defenders.
saw your disclaimer on the released episode of the podcast.
Yeah. They immediately get destroyed by the fucking... I'm sorry, not destroyed. But they get humiliated by the DC defenders. And before you guys go, they only lost by whatever, it's not humiliating. When you admit you lose, it's called what? Showing humility. When you admit your loss, it's called showing humility. And why is that? Because losing is humiliating. That's what it means to humiliate someone, defeat them. And them acknowledging that is showing that they have been humiliated or showing humility.
I hear how he got there too, everybody. I know. I was listening.
That's what it is.
I heard his train of thought too. It's okay.
That's what it is.
When you admit that you got defeated, it's humility.
Is that not showing humility? Is admitting your faults not showing humility?
I mean, I see what you getting at, but that's totally a Peteism. Like what?
That's why they tell you make somebody humble by whooping their ass. You humiliate, you humble them. Show humility.
So if you make somebody humble,
sit down, be humble.
If you make somebody humble, but also feed them a pastry,
it's not making them humble. That's just being generous.
You don't get that. I'm making a very dumb joke.
Humble pastry.
Humble pie. It was very fucking stupid.
No, I'm just dumb.
No, I'm dumb. That was a dumbass joke.
I should have caught that. The humble pie.
Do not get me wrong. That was a stupid fucking joke.
Yeah.
That's not your fault, my friend. That is mine.
But it's okay. At least we lost to the other team that was undefeated. Well, one of the two other teams that was undefeated. Now there are 2 undefeated teams left. The Roughnecks, because they haven't lost a game since the XFL was remade. That team has yet to lose a game, counting 2020 and this year. The Roughnecks have not lost once.
What city is that?
Houston. And this weekend, hopefully, Battlehawks can win, because it's finally, after 3 weeks, their home debut. The first 3 games were all on the road for the Battlehawks.
How many games do they play
10.
in the XFL season?
I want to say they're playing 10. I think they
XFL's on. Really?
Yeah, I think they play everybody in their division or half of the league twice or something like that. Or maybe they play everybody twice and you play like X amount of games. I don't know. They play 10. Or I think they play the division people twice and the other teams once. I don't remember exactly how it breaks down. Bottom line is 10 weeks.
Is it is it like the NFL where it's double the amount of teams as it is the amount of games? Or how many teams is it in the XFL? Do you know?
There are. I want to say there's 8, so I think you play everybody once and somebody else twice then.
It's 10. Only 8. Oh shit.
There's not a lot. XFL is pretty small.
Because the NFL is 32 teams, isn't it?
The NFL is 32 teams, but you also got to remember now we have 17 games.
That's right. They upped it one. That is true.
XFL. Because I know you had. Go ahead.
I was going to say, it used to be 13 games back in the day for the NFL. Then they made it 16. And now you're right. They just upped it one more. I didn't realize the XFL was.
Okay, there are 8 teams.
I didn't realize it was so few teams. They don't even have 10 teams, double-digit teams. Damn.
I'm going to try to get this back off the ground.
Yeah, well, no, I get it. I just surprised.
Yeah. So you have the DC Defenders, who are undefeated right now. Maybe that changed or changes this weekend. We'll see. But as of the time of this recording, the DC Defenders, best team in their division, which is we have the North Division and the South Division, each with 4 teams. So in the North, you got DC Defenders, Seattle Sea Dragons, who I think have 1 win and 2 losses. The St. Louis Battlehawks, 2-1, and the Vipers, who are 0-3. And remember, the Vipers are apparently a team that we don't like because Hawks eat snakes anyway. So that was determined by the fan base in 2020 on fucking Battlehawks Reddit, not determined by me. Anyway, in the South Division, you have pretty much Texas and Orlando. You have the Arlington Renegades out of Arlington, Texas. I think that's who the Battlehawks played this weekend. I don't know if you've heard of Chiseled Adonis. He's a guy that makes videos on YouTube, black dude. Sometimes he'll talk about whatever NFL weekend or whatever, but now lately he's been doing XFL things. So the videos are kind of funny, but they also are filled with a lot of memes and stuff. Some of his own about certain teams. For instance, whenever he talks about he talks about the Vipers, he plays like Viper from the fucking Pokemon. Anyway, I've been watching his videos to catch anything non-Battlehawks related about the other games on the weekends, and apparently the Renegades have problems with fumbles. I hear a lot of but they got a case of the butterfingers as they drop the ball again. I'm like, so hopefully they keep that up this weekend. Anyway, the Houston Roughnecks, who, like I said, are undefeated in their existence. They were like 4-0 when the XFL crashed last time, and they're 3-0 this season. So that's them. The Orlando Guardians, who are considered the worst team in the league. Their quarterback is the only guy who has been benched in 4 different leagues, counting the NFL, the Canadian Football League, the XFL, and one other one that I'm forgetting. But yeah, Paxton Lynch.
Wait, so he started and then he was so shitty that he got benched?
He got benched week 1.
In pretty much every league, in pretty much 4 different leagues he played, and then they were like, yo, you suck.
Yeah, he was drafted into the NFL. He was drafted by the Broncos. Broncos country. Let's ride. But he rode right into the Grand Canyon and just stayed down there. But he got benched at week 1 in the XFL. But I think Orlando's backup quarterback got injured, and then the third stringer was selling the team's plans to the other team so he could make money. So he got cut. So now it's back to Paxton Lynch, whether they like it or not.
You know what's funny? You know what's funny? Motherfuckers are probably doing that way more than getting caught. It's just his dumb ass got caught.
Right?
People probably doing that, not just football. They probably doing it across the board: basketball, hockey, baseball, soccer. You know, selling the hell out of the plans and the plays and shit.
Oh yeah.
It's you don't get caught, you dumb bitch. He got caught, so they should have cut him with a goddamn razor. No,
You gonna get cut, bitch.
Cut him for real. No, we stuff.
Yeah. So, but the team we lost to. Oh, sorry. And the other team in the South is the San Antonio Brahmas.
Yeah, that's right. You talk about them last
the
week.
Rock's team. Hopefully, the Rock goes to St. Louis, considering they at least. So I know last week you were saying no one in St. Louis gives a damn about the XFL.
Again, I'm not the benchmark for that. I just have not heard anyone say it. I'm not the benchmark.
Well,
I just haven't heard.
You live in St. Louis currently.
Yes, I do. Yes,
I do not.
Yes.
So if one of us has a pulse on the fingers as how St. Louis would feel, you'd have a better one.
I'm also a casual football fan, way more than you,
Nigga, you
as
got
well
eyes.
as haven't seen the XFL since it restarted. So,
I mean, you got eyes.
yes,
You can see someone's wearing something Battlehawks related, and you're like, oh, I don't see nobody wearing nothing.
but I mean, no. To be fair, all those disclaimers aside, I have not seen or heard anything about it.
Fair. Now, I understand that I know no one cares about the fucking Guardians down here. I mean, hell, I'm from St. Louis, so I would have rooted for the Battlehawks regardless. But I've seen more Battlehawks stuff down here than I've seen them, and I'm the only one wearing Battlehawk stuff. So, anyway, however, despite what people are saying, I know they at least opened the availability for, I'm assuming because they sold enough of the lower levels, the top like 400 level seats in the dome, Battle Dome. I don't know what it's called now, but nickname has been the Battle Dome, so I'm just going with that. So the top section got opened up for sailing of seats. And they've been trying to build the dome. Apparently, y'all got a soccer team now, or we got a soccer team now. In St. Louis.
I did hear people talking about that.
People have gone nuts over that.
I heard a few people here and there talking about that yesterday, actually.
Yeah, Bill was telling me about that. I think Bill was telling me, and I think Bob the Tomato was telling me as well. But yeah, Bill was telling me that everybody was crazy about the St. Louis soccer team that I don't know the name of.
Me either.
The Soccer of St. Louis.
The Soccer of St. Is that a riff on the Spirit of St. Louis?
Yes.
That's so stupid.
I know. But anyway, the guy who was playing for the Defenders, though, that beat us, was our quarterback in the 2020 XFL, Jordan Teamu. So it was a revenge game for him. Now, one thing that's fun about the DC fan base, because I have to disagree with ESPN where they're like, DC has the best fans in the XFL. I'm sorry, but we actually sell tickets. Anyway, they do have a cool feature with the DC Defenders, I will say. Pretty much from the start of the game or pre-game, there's a section right behind one of the end zones where the fans, the second they finish their beer, they stack the empty cups together. And over the course of the game, the stack of cups from everyone in that section just gets longer and longer and longer and longer, going from field level last week to the top of that section. Like as far back as possible. They're like over 1,000 something cups of beer for the beer snake. And they just got people who in that section they just realized they're holding the beer snake for the game because there's a guy at the bottom who's got to hold the thing to keep it at its base, and then as it goes up it gets heavier and heavier because I know it's plastic cups, but that shit adds up over time. Paper. Look at paper.
Of course.
Paper's some of the heaviest shit out there. In which people will also go, that's weird. Why would paper be heavy? Well, it is trees. So you stack enough pieces of paper together, you pretty much got, and tightly enough, you got a block of wood. You don't, but you do. It doesn't have the sturdiness of wood, but it has the weight of wood. Anyway, they got the beer snake, and that was cool. And I think last week it got all the way up to the top of their section, and they had to start a second one. And when I say all the way top of their section, I mean high. Like, pretty much that segment of the arena. I think that's the only one that really sells out for them, but it sells out enough. They got their identity. And week 1, they banned the beer snake, so it was a big deal that they let them bring it back this time.
It was too much of a distraction or too chaotic or something. Too much of a liability if it fell over or some shit.
Probably, but the fan base lost their shit and were very mad. So they were like, "Here, beer snake." So I remember going into it. They're like, "The beer snake is under review," and then they're like, "Congratulations, the beer snake has been allowed! Yay, DC fans!"
Under review.
Yeah,
but that sounds pretty cool. I've never even heard of that being like a thing, but now that's a thing. And I bet the way that might have happened, it might have been a few people, like 4 or 5 people that knew each other, that probably had a beer or two and stacked them, and then some random person they didn't know joined in, and then everybody's having a good time, and somebody else joined in, and next thing you know, everybody's doing it, and then it became a thing.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty cool.
But yeah, from the start of the game throughout the whole game, that just every time just donate to the beer snake, which also pretty much. Which when you think of how much fucking stadium beers have to cost, the fact that they can get it that fucking long. Now I will give their fan base that regard. They may not sell as many tickets as us, but they definitely buy enough alcohol to make up for it.
If you said it was like almost 1,000 and them things be costing what, $8-9? It's like it's like $8-9,000.
And that's $8 on a good day. That's like 15. Last time I think I went. Now it was an Orlando.
I'm thinking about sodas and shit.
Yeah,
no, you're right.
Like
beers cost more.
Yeah, it's like an Orlando Magic game, and I went and the beer was like 15. I'm like, Jesus
I'm
Christ.
thinking like sodas be like 9-10. No, that's the beer do be like 50. Fuck.
Yeah, but it's a whole section's worth of beer. So it's like, okay, and that's just that one section. They make money off of their alcohol, so that's good for them. Because XFL tickets are not expensive, especially if you get the like 400 level that they opened up in St. Louis, like the top, the nosebleeds, because those are, I think they said 18. And
that's not bad at all.
Yeah, for a game of football.
Fuck yeah! Imagine I was gonna say, they're probably just happy to be able to use the dome for something that they ain't used that motherfucker for in like, over 15 years or some shit. 10 years, over 10 years. It ain't been 15 years since the Rams have not been in St. Louis, has it?
No, it's been like 7.
I thought it'd been at least 10.
It's been like 7.
Oh shit, I thought it'd been at least 10 down. But it's definitely been a while.
Yeah.
That's why I was like 15 was too much.
But they also used the dome in 2020 for about 5 weeks.
Oh yeah. Well, people used a lot of stuff in 2020 for a short amount of time.
Yeah, like my driver's license.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you want to go into that, or no? You want to keep it pushing?
I got it, and then 2 weeks later, the world shut down. I ain't meant to drive.
No, but I mean, you want to go into like the story of like how it happened, or no?
I got my driver's license, and then COVID happened. It's 2020. World shut down. That's about it. There's not
I
too
got
much detail.
I got you. I remember hearing stories. You follow people here and there and stuff like that, and I think like I told you, I keep up with battle rap online, and I think these battle rappers would talk about how they had just opened like a club or like a strip club or some shit like that.
All right.
One of them two. It was like a strip club, a regular club, something. And it was like they couldn't they were just about to go into business with it, and then all of a sudden they had to be like, wait a minute, fuck it. Uh, yeah, it uprooted a whole bunch of stuff. There's no 24-hour restaurants in St. Louis anymore since it happened, because it was at least three that I could think about. I won't necessarily name them, but I could definitely like think of them off the top of my head, and it's definitely three, because St. Louis is cool, but it ain't it ain't got a whole lot of whatever, but it's still, and there's at least three of them. 2020 hit, nothing is 24 hours. Ain't no 24-hour restaurants, ain't no 24-hour grocery stores.
Mm-hmm.
I'm lucky that I don't live far from a 7-Eleven that did not close during COVID times, so that if I did need something whenever, I could go get it. But yeah, man, it was like, it's crazy. Like I said, there's no 24-hour nothing. If it's 10 o'clock, sometimes depending on where you go, 11 o'clock, and you in St. Louis now, and you ain't got your groceries, you gotta wait till about 6, 7 in the morning. Shit. 2020, man. Is what it is, though. Everybody's still pulling out of that stuff and slowly but surely making do what they can to try to pretend like the world is back to normal.
Yeah, pretty much. So yeah, that's that. In other news, how are you?
I'm good, man.
Good, good. Yeah. No, that's about it. I was just seeing what's up. Any new developments and stuff. Because, I spent the whole last episode talking about XFL. I don't need to talk about the XFL the whole this episode, too. Even though Claw's still lost. I don't care if we lost a game. It's one game.
I jokingly, but not so jokingly, tell people that my Super Bowl is actually the day that we're recording this, because this is going to be going up Wednesday, but we're recording this the Sunday before. Wait, no, we're not. So this is going to go up. This is going up Wednesday, or just going up next week?
That's Wednesday.
Okay, so this is going up this Wednesday, right? So we're recording this the Sunday before we upload it, and my Super Bowl is the Oscars.
Oh, is that tonight?
Yeah.
No.
It's kind of late, but apparently it was March last year too. I thought it was February last year.
I have no idea, buddy.
Well, the only reason that more people would know is because the whole, slap her around the world thing. So, because that was at last year's.
But have you heard the response that's going around the world?
Yeah, and we can get into that in a little bit if you really, really want to.
Yeah. Anyway, Oscars.
But yeah, but no, I remember it had been in February for so long, and I'm like, was it in March last year? Because even shout out to Big Bro was telling me that last year apparently it was in March too, and I was like, really? I don't remember that. But anyway, no, I have not seen every Best Picture nominated movie, or even as many Best Picture nominated movies this year as I normally do. But I really do. Obviously, I love acting and love movies, and this is like, I'm curious to see what takes place and what happens this year as far as Best Picture and all that stuff. So, do you have any big leads that you hope are pulling ahead? I'm joking because I know you don't know shit.
I haven't seen Top Gun Maverick. I saw Top
That
Gun recently.
that was good. Me and Ibn saw that together, and he said he texted me shortly after and was like, he feels like that's the best movie he's seen in theaters in recent years.
I'm
For real.
assuming he didn't watch Everything Everywhere All at Once.
No.
Okay. I'm gonna go ahead and assume that's a better movie than Top Gun Maverick. That said, from a film and objective standpoint,
They're both really good movies in their own right.
Top Gun does seem like it'd be really fun to watch, though. After finally having watched the original Top Gun for realsies earlier this year, so I'm slightly more plugged in than I was in previous years because of the other podcast where we talk about movies and stuff. And at the start of the year, Bill on that show, he is. He like you is into the like the Oscars and award seasons and all that stuff, and he had a great idea for award season where we talk about like a lot of things that somehow are either related to the awards this year and or some previous award winners. So we did Top Gun because I hadn't seen it, otherwise we probably would have watched Maverick. But the whole point of this guy hasn't seen is one guy has seen and the other guy hasn't. So neither of us had seen Maverick. I hadn't seen Top Gun. So it's like, all right, so we'll do that. So saw that. So I knew Maverick was up there. And I believe Bill saw Maverick and also really enjoyed it. We saw Everything Everywhere All at Once because it is actively nominated for stuff this year. And more than likely will win a lot of it, as it deserves. We didn't want to watch The Whale. Neither one of us wanted to watch The Whale.
Why? I've been looking for that movie and can't necessarily find it. Why don't y'all want to watch it?
Subject matter.
It seems like it might be too heavy, or y'all just don't think y'all like it.
All right, so
Too heavy was a bad choice, but yeah.
Brendan Fraser, great actor.
Yes.
Great actor. I hear he does a phenomenal job in this movie. Me, I'm not about the serious anyway. You know me. I'm stupid in that regard. But he well, not stupid, but uncultured. I'm uncultured in that regard. But I'm not the biggest fan of My 600-Pound Life and the things that are like that. While I understand everybody has their struggles and their reasons for growing big, there's a certain point to where it is your fault. And
I mean, no,
600 plus is about that for me, technically. Like, yeah, you can wake up one day and be 300 pounds because life got you 400 pounds even. 6? There's a few milestones. You saw this coming and chose not to. And if you want to live your life that way, cool. But don't ask me to feel sorry for you. Now, if you got your legs cut off and you literally can't move, okay, I understand that. I'm talking about the people with perfectly functioning bodies that literally got to that point. So watching a movie about that and the suffering and stuff, because it's apparently heavy subject matter as well as, subject matter. But just the whole like, oh God, he's in pain all the time and so and so. Apparently, and again, I'm respecting it for what it is. I think it deserves its nominations. All of that. Brendan Fraser, amazing actor. I'm just not watching the movie. And that's me. I don't remember exactly why Bill didn't want to watch it, but he wasn't necessarily feeling watching the movie itself. It's one of those things where respect Brendan for everything he does. Apparently does a great job. But instead, we watched Airheads, because I hadn't seen Airheads. We watched a different Brendan Fraser movie. And Airheads was pretty fun. They were out of control. Anyway,
I haven't. Oh, they're out of control. That was good. I haven't seen Airheads either. I know what you're talking about though.
it actually is. It's a product of its time.
Well, it's like what
But
early '90s as fuck. Yeah.
yeah, it's a product of its time. But me nowadays, I find that kind of shit endearing. Not just if it's 90s. Like, because I'll find like 80s ass movies hilarious or 70s ass, and you know what I mean. Like, or 2000s ass, because we saw. It was after the award season was over, but fucking Josie and the Pussycats, that movie. That movie was so fucking late 90s, early 2000s.
Is that movie good?
It is very late 90s, early 2000s. You got the whole like I think I started calling them like the Stifler crew, despite the fact that Stifler wasn't in the movie, but it's a lot of people who would have done movies with Stifler back then. Sean William Scott.
I know he's on you.
For the folks at home.
Oh, right.
Sean William Scott. Ironically, someone at my job had a customer whose last name was Stifler earlier this week.
He probably gets that all the time. He or she probably gets that all the time.
Probably. But either way, it was a lot of the people that you saw in those fucking Stifler movies. And I know not all of the Stifler movies were the same, but they all kind of were, if you get my drift. Rosario Dawson was in it, and she could have done a better job knowing her talent and how amazing she is.
Gabriel
She could have done a
Union is in
better
it?
job.
No? Okay, I'm wrong.
No.
For some reason, I thought Gabriel Union. Maybe I had a memory of the one black female in it being Gabriel Union instead of hey, the one black female. No, that's funny. Anyway,
I'm pretty sure
you were saying,
but no, we saw that, but that wasn't because of award season. It reminded me of products of its time, and that product of its time.
Josie and the Pussycats, long tails and ears like hats, guitars and sharps and flats.
No, you know more words than I
Josie and the Pussycats. Back in the day when they used to do that little like the block of old school cartoons and shit with like Jabberjaw and all that shit. And you remember when they used to have like in between the cartoons?
No, I remember the Josie and the Pussycat.
Well, but you remember back in between the cartoons, they would like product of its time, but they would kind of try to remix some of the stuff for music of the modern era. Like, we call it Jabberjaw. And they were like trying to do the rock version of Jabberjaw and shit. You know what I'm talking about?
I think so, yeah.
In between the shows and shit.
Yeah.
Like whatever that block was, where they had the block of old school cartoons, but then they also tried to like modernize it, make it fun in between with the bumpers they would do for the music of the era. So they played Josie and the Pussycats sometimes. And I didn't really watch Josie and the Pussycats too much.
Me neither.
But
I didn't even realize they were part of the Archieverse.
Yeah, that's right, they are. But I watched enough Josie and the Pussycats like to see the theme song.
Yeah,
so.
I saw like I said it in the review for it because whenever you mentioned it, I was like long tails, ish hats, and I was like, I don't know anything else. I just know that because they played that on a lot of commercials. And then the whole movie goes, and I don't hear that line once, and I'm like, I just imagined this shit. And then the like ending credits, the song they play had the line in there. I'm like, okay, I'm not going crazy.
That shit came out in 2001. That is nuts.
So there you go. That it is about as a 2001 movie as you're gonna get.
Okay.
So for better or worse, I'm not gonna be like it should have won any awards that year. It shouldn't, but it was a solid watch. I'll give it that. I did enjoy watching it, but I enjoy watching a lot of the things on this guy hasn't seen. A lot of them. Very little do I not enjoy.
That's cool, actually, man.
Yeah. Well, and I think Bill is as well. A little bit more open in, viewing things. Like, I like The Departed. That was a good one. We saw that too, but that wasn't for awards.
Bring this.
That was for something else.
Every time.
That was something else. But I liked it. Anyway, no, what else did we watch for awards season? Everything Everywhere All at Once, because that is nominated. Uh, Top Gun because of Maverick. Airheads because of Brendan Fraser. RRR,
Yeah, that's right.
which I don't think it's
forgot about that
nominated for
movie.
any Oscars. If it
I thought
is,
it was. I thought
I
it was
don't know.
nominated for like foreign film or some shit.
Oh, was it? I know they
I thought
talked
so.
about
I
that
could be
being a
wrong.
possibility at one time. Once I lost track of the tracker once we stopped doing award season things. Bill would occasionally bring up stuff with trackers, but RRR was was like my one suggestion during that whole time. was actually was it, or did I suggest Top Gun? I don't remember. Bottom line is, we watched RRR, and that was probably my favorite of the ones we watched. Was Everything Everywhere All at Once the best movie from an objective standpoint? Yes. Was it my favorite from the ones we watched? No. But the acting was better, the topics were better that they tackle, all that stuff. The things you want an Oscar winning film to have. Everything Everywhere All at Once had it. After all, it had Everything Everywhere All at Once.
That's such a wild ass title.
Right?
It was such a good movie.
But yeah, RRR was probably my favorite, especially because that's been our most watched review as of late. And it also introduced me to SS Rajamouli, as I just watched the past 2 weeks on our channel, Bahubali, the guy's 2 films before RRR. And
Yeah, y'all had the first this guy hasn't seen where none of the people on camera suggested the film, which is
right.
cool.
Mm-hmm.
That's cool.
Yeah. But so the award season was fun. I know we watched something else that had to do with awards. Oh, we ended it with something that won Best Picture in the past, and that was Slumdog Millionaire.
That won Best Picture?
Yeah.
Oh shit! I didn't know it won the year that it came out. That's a great fucking movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a good movie too. It was a good movie too. I found out that it is not well looked upon by people overseas in India because it's a bad depiction of the country. It's just
I could
poor
see
and all that stuff. Yeah.
It's probably they did use Indian actors.
Yep.
And they definitely, I'm assuming, shot on location and whatnot, but it probably is. They probably, for you to say that, they probably deem it more of a Western outlook on their country.
Yeah, Western /
Like,
just outsider outlook. Yeah,
outsider. This is how they act over in India. That's probably how it comes out.
Everybody's poor and it's all slums all the time. There's no such thing as successful people in India unless they're criminals exploiting the poor people. Unless they're criminals. That's the image that movie kind of perpetuates.
Yeah, it definitely does. You're either
Not
criminals
it's true,
or like a celebrity.
That's the image it perpetuates.
But no, that movie definitely did, like you said, the only way they're successful, I could see them feeling like it portrays the only way that you're successful is if you exploit people.
Yeah. And I know that was a problem they had with JoJo's Bizarre Adventure as well, as like in the 80s. Well, one of the parts in the 80s that was when it was written like in the 80s or whatever had them going to India, and while they're in India, they kind of play up on those stereotypes and stuff too. Now this is made by Japanese people, but still, they're like, "Oh, in India, you gotta know how to haggle and do this, that, because the poor people run the place and all this shit, and gotta watch out for swindlers. You're in India," and it's like, okay, Can someone put India in a positive light? You know who kind of puts India in a positive light, even though it's entirely fictional? Not saying that India is not good. I'm not saying the positiveness being fictional. I'm just saying the movie is fictional. RRR and Bahubali. India, like RRR, I guess is a bit more accurate. But anyway, well, they're made by people from India, so Rajamouli and stuff. So better depiction of the country, that people are going to be okay with. But Bahubali, some of that scenery in Bahubali was just like a fictional ancient India. Now, I believe Bill brought up the point that there's a lot of heavy CGI in Rajamouli's movies, so it could have enhanced the scenery a bit. But regardless, those movies have that scenery, whether it's authentic or enhanced or whatever, looking beautiful as hell. Especially Bahubali to the conclusion and the flashback that it goes to during that. India looks beautiful as hell. So there's that.
Apparently, according to what I'm looking at, RRR got one nomination this year for original song. Natu.
Oh, really?
Naatu.
Yeah. Yeah, however you pronounce it. That's cool. I remember that was a song that both Bill and I really liked from that movie. So that's actually nominated for an Oscar?
Yeah, I'm nominated for Best Original Song.
That, to be fair, oh my God, you haven't seen the movie. The way that whole scene starts, I love it. I know I talk about it. It was one of our standout moments in the review. Go check out it.
Yeah, I gotta see the movie. I know Bill even
it was in theaters.
He messaged in the group chat and was like, "Jazz, go check it out." And I was like, "Damn, I'm gonna have to check it out." And then fucked around and didn't check it out.
Fucked around and didn't even find out.
Oh yeah. Okay. Let me see what else we got for best song nomination. I remember. Was it last year? That The Shallows got nominated from what is that movie?
Harry Potter and the Deathly Shallows?
No, the song The Shallows, definitely Shallows. The Shallows from the movie Lady Gaga's first that wasn't last year. That was like 2 years ago, 3 years ago. Her first movie role. It's A Star Is Born. Is a fucking that movie was a big fucking like
A Star Is Born This Way.
A Star Is Born. That movie was a big overrated pile of and
I prefer Pop Star.
One of my friends who loves Lady Gaga, dude, he's like, no, the song is that, the movie is that good. It's like, dude, and I told him straight up because he's one of the people that loves. Some people love people so much that they kind of get blinded. They get blinded by the fact that they like them to be objective. And I told him straight up, I was like, dude, Lady Gaga could say it's an album, but really it is just her farting into the microphone for an hour, and you would be like, bro, this shit hot. Shut the fuck up. So no, The Shallows was a dope ass song because it's Lady Gaga. Lady Gaga makes good music. Even Lady Gaga's not so good songs still are good songs because she can sing her ass off. No, but that movie was not that good.
Oh no, I get blinded by bias all the time, but I try to let you know that I'm blinded by bias. Like,
well, you do admit that, which is kind of funny.
Like when people ask me what I thought of God of War Ragnarok, they're like, "How did you like that?" I'm like, in my biased opinion, it's a 10 out of 10, free. Unbiased, I'd say 8. Ending was kind of rushed. But biased opinion, 10 out of 10. Probably 11 out of 10, 12 out of 10. It was going to be a 10 out of 10. All they had to do was come out and have a playable game, and I would have called it 10 out of 10. Kind of like you said about the farting in the microphone. Although I probably would, I would have to rate that like a 5.
I'm laughing that you had this whole explanation and conversation with yourself.
Yeah. But yeah, no, the Nacho Nacho song, that's cool, or however it's pronounced. I'm sorry. It sounds like Nacho when you're hearing it in the movie. It's not too Nato. It's a cool song though, and a cool scene. The motherfuckers is dancing hard as shit too.
I need to see this fucking movie. I keep forgetting about it. I need
jump
to see
kick. Unnecessary as jump kick. I'm not gonna lie, and that's something I've noticed in a lot of like things that showcase other cultures. Is some of these cultures, their parties are just they look
fun in a motherfucker in some of these. Yes.
Indian parties be looking fun as shit. Sometimes when they depict like Jewish weddings and shit, they look fun as shit when they start.
They got motherfuckers up in chairs and shit.
Yeah,
they raising the roof with them in chairs and shit in the weddings and shit. Fucking Hispanic parties, depending on which like
fiestas,
ethnicity.
Yeah, your fiestas of various varieties.
Africa, when they show Africa be going off.
They be dancing hard as shit too.
Yes. Oh yeah, no, like the African dances. It's like, bro, I need a glass of water to hang in there for like a minute with them. The fuck?
Fucking Coming to America, that dance at the beginning.
Dude. No, you right. Them other cultures. It's like, yo, how can I get like y'all? But I mean, that's why I was saying, as far as America, Black America, the one decade that I can really think where people danced hard was the 90s.
Yeah.
Those dances look like fucking aerobic workouts.
Yeah, 90, because that was a big part of the culture back then too, was the aerobic workouts. Fucking, what's his name? Combo and Killer Instinct, the black guy with the boxing gloves, because he's a black guy in a fighting game in the 90s. Of course he's a boxer. His music sounds like some shit out of a fucking 90s aerobic video.
Oh yeah.
It's 90s as fuck too. It's awesome. I love it.
People would like you can go back and look at like House Party when they start dancing and shit. And the original House Party is a motherfucking classic. But one of the best scenes, probably the best scene, is the dance off. You know, where they did the whole the kid and play kick that everybody does and all that shit. And they dance off against Tisha Campbell Martin now. Or she go back to Tisha Campbell. I don't know if they got divorced. Anyway, Tisha Campbell and the other woman, AJ somebody, I forget her name. But when they dancing off against the four of them, that's probably the best scene in the movie. But they dancing.
Oh yeah, no. Prim's
kicking and jumping and spinning and shit.
Yeah, Prim's Hood Cinema, which I think I mentioned to you before. He's a YouTuber.
I know Prim. I know.
He watches a lot of black movies. If you couldn't tell by the title of his series, he a lot of times on his 90 things he'll talk about like, man, these 90s niggas dancing hard as shit. What the hell? You just see
cause dude, they was like they be getting it. It's like you get tired watching that.
Yeah, that kind of shit had me convinced I couldn't dance when I was a kid. I can't be doing all that. I can't dance.
It was like every fucking dance was like, all right. So to hit this dance, you gotta spin, kick, drop, and pop up. Like, bitch, what? Bitch, where? When? How to? Who would? Where? When? Why? How? The fuck? Like the fuck? Because in the 80s, motherfuckers. Now, don't get me wrong. The 80s had its own aerobic workout as far as Black Americans, but that's when everybody said, you know what? Fuck dancing on our feet. We're gonna dance on our fucking hands.
And hands and head spins.
Yeah, so that was a whole different
they
fucking.
Were dancing hard too. Don't get me wrong.
They were okay. So the 90s was aerobics. The 80s was fucking like gymnastics.
They called it break dancing because you seriously were breaking something.
Breaking some shit. Breaking a motherfucking bone.
Break yourself.
You had to fucking you had to fucking take a gymnastics class just to be able to do that shit back in the 80s.
Mm-hmm.
Now they danced pretty hard in the 70s.
Yeah,
but
it wasn't.
I don't know if it was as hard.
Yeah, it was hard to do, not necessarily. Oh my god.
Right.
I can't dance, my asthma.
Right. Trying to think like they were doing some dances in the 70s. You know, they did the bump. You know,
just for me, let's all do the bump.
Right. MC Hammer really put that in that motherfucking song like that. Like, for real, bro. Just like, what if I come out with it? What if Superjaz come out with a song and I'm just like, yeah, this is how we do it. Just for a minute, get into it. And then I just don't do shit. Like, what, really?
Yeah, anyway. Just let people dance. That's you need a music video for it. But yeah, because then you put the get into it and then you just have someone dancing hard as shit. And everyone's like, damn, this solo boy. And then you got people trying to imitate the dance. And suddenly, that's one of the best parts of the songs. Get into it. Just make sure your instrumental there is kicking. You can make it work.
The let's all do the bump part is not the best part of that
I
song.
didn't say that was the best part of the song.
You said, oh, and because the best part is
you said, what if Superjaz came out with this and I was telling you how to make it work? I'm not talking about what MC Hammer did. I agree with you. It was silly. And he probably just didn't have any words.
That's honestly what I think is he couldn't think of shit to put right there.
You ask, what if Superjaz did it? Superjaz hasn't done that yet. So, this is how you do it. Yeah, it's Friday night. Feels all right. Party's on the west side of the world. Wait, we're the west side of the world. Never mind. The party's on the east side of the world because apparently they know how to fucking get down over there.
I reached right what we just said, right? I reached for my 40 and I feel all right. Designated driver takes the keys to my truck. Hit the light because I'm faded.
Do you feel all right or do you feel... Well, I guess you feel all right. Reach for a 40. That doesn't rhyme with truck. I always thought he said I reach for a 40 and I fill it up, but it doesn't make sense that he would fill up his 40. But up rhymes with truck better than right.
Keys to my truck, hit the light because I'm faded. Some say money, yo, we made it.
It's all good.
You say I fill it up.
Yeah, keys to my truck. You said feel all right earlier. I was like, yeah, reach for a 40 and I feel all right. And I'm like, I always thought to fill it up.
Oh, did I say feel all right? Oh, okay.
I was like, was it that? I feel like it was fill it up. But then I thought about it, like, why would you fill up your 40? You're trying to empty it into your mouth and drink it.
What song did he sample for that song? It's pretty fucking obvious.
I don't know the name of it, but I know it was Slick Rick with the story.
You don't know the name of that? It's I thought you did.
Once upon a time not long ago.
Yeah, children's story.
Yeah. I knew what song, especially because he samples it later on in the song.
Yeah.
Like he just starts going, once upon a time in 94, Montel had a
had no money and life sure was slow. And all they said was 6'8", he stood. Which is crazy to be
records and making the dash.
That's crazy to be like some like smooth R&B like sex symbol and you 6'8". The fuck?
If you went from where I'm from, well, you're what the women want. You're 6'8".
No, I'm just saying. Yeah. Oh, they want women like tall men. And he's tall as fuck, right?
And he can sing. And he rich. And probably got a cool personality on top of it. Maybe. Who knows? Probably
he seems like it. Again, we don't know, but he seems like it.
Let's be positive and say maybe he does. As opposed to just assuming the worst of people. I'm about to be like, he was a celebrity in the 90s, so probably not. But then I'm like, no, let's say that he probably is a good person. I don't know the man.
If you were from where I'm from, then you would know. No.
And you're right, and I'm not. Turns out he's from St. Louis. You
got to get yours in a Big Mac truck. You can get yours in. I got to get mine in something. What do you say? Who's getting theirs in the Big Mac truck? You can get yours in the 6'4". Somebody was getting theirs in the Big Mac truck.
Okay.
You can get yours in the 6-4.
Whatever it is, body's underwear. So tip up your cups and throw your hands up and let me hear the party say,
I'm kind of buzzed.
It's all because this is how we do. South Central. He's from LA. South Central does it like nobody does. Call the neighbors, you got my slam.
To this day,
Let's switch the track on the old, or I'll never cut back on an old school track.
Come whack,
whatever. I don't like this.
To this day, that song still goes fucking hard if you play it at parties.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, man. Anyway. Speaking of stuff that goes hard and is likes that. If you want to follow us on our respective socials, then you can go ahead and follow yours truly anywhere you stream your music. Might not be in the same boat as of This Is How We Do It, but then again, maybe I will be. You decide for yourself. Anywhere you stream your music, go ahead and look me up under the name Superjaz. That's spelled Superjaz. Like I said, anywhere you stream your music, go ahead and look up my debut solo album I dropped a few years ago called My Secret Identity. You may have to put in Superjaz, my secret identity, since I'm not so famous yet. Also, go ahead and find and follow me on Twitter under the name Superjaz2, which would be Superjaz number 2. And of course, go ahead and look me up on Instagram under the name Forever Superjaz. The word forever is spelled correctly. Where can they find you, sir?
Well, obviously, you can find me here every week, every Wednesday on the Whatever We Want podcast. You can also find me elsewhere on YouTube on my channel with the feogrande, that is feogrande. As I've mentioned numerous times on this episode today, I have a podcast over there called This Guy Hasn't Seen, where we trade movies back and forth that are doing a good friend of mine, a good friend of the show, Bill Smith. I believe this week is, if it's not Bahubali 2, it's Hollywood Shuffle. It's one of the two. And if it is Hollywood Shuffle, we have another friend of the show.
I know what it is.
Yeah. We have another friend of the show, Ibn. I'll go ahead and say it. He's been on both shows now. So now, with that, I believe Whatever We Want has less guests on it than This Guy Hasn't Seen. But yeah, also I have a Twitter and Twitch. It's Giotavi. That is Giotavi. Come on in. Stop on by.
Word. Well, whether it be about the XFL, the Battlehawks, whether it's buzzing in St. Louis as much as it may or may not be, because then again, I do or don't know, and I'm not the benchmark for that. Whether it be about the Best Picture noms, other Oscar noms, RRR and its various noms, whether it be about This Is How We Do It, or how we didn't do it, or how we could do it, and other 90s songs, and the hardness of the dances through the decades. This is pretty embarrassing, man, because you would think after 100 some odd episodes, I'd fucking know. But what are we gonna talk about next time?
Whatever we want.
Be nice to yourself, everybody.
Adios.